Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Thursday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios here in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill. Casey Gaines, Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. It's a Throwback Thursday presented by AccuTemp. We will throw it back into the Wayback Machine at the start of hour number 2. Also have a guest following that segment as well. Got some baseball chatter to talk about. I watched 35 minutes of Jay Johnson's press conference last night, and I had a hard time going to sleep. That says a lot more about me than it does the signing class. I'm a freak, but this is a remarkable collection of talent he has brought in, and we'll briefly touch on a couple things that he said at the end of hour number 1. But we're fast moving towards LSU and Arkansas. How we doing, Jeremy Hill?
I'm doing solid, man. We're going to get this Throwback Thursday rolling.
Let's do it. We'll start with a story that Ross Dellinger at Sports Illustrated has put out today that basically says change is coming, or maybe it's not, but they're meeting to discuss it, and it's the college football playoff. There's been a lot of debate about the future of the playoff, and Ross has done a remarkable job reporting on it, documenting it, and publishing in Sports Illustrated. If you don't follow Ross, you should. He does a fantastic job. The genesis of his story is that the committee is going to meet, or this group of power brokers is going to meet December 1st and 2nd, and they're going to very likely make a decision here. And there are a couple of options that they can go with. Right now, 8 is dead as of this moment. 12 is where things are trending. And Ross writes, at their meeting last week, a group of conference commissioners introduced a new alternate 12-team postseason model that guarantees a berth to each Power 5 champion, as well as the highest-ranked group of 5 champion. So that's 6 spots that would be filled. The rest would be filled by a committee. So the College Football Playoff Management Committee, 10 FBS commissioners, and Notre Dame's athletic director, Jack Swarbrick, discussed that. They're calling it the 5+1, 5 champions plus a group of 5. And that's where things are moving. If they don't adopt this 12-team model, it's likely going to stay at 4. The question is, when are they going to do this? And their options seem to be, at this point, run it as 4 through 2025. That's the last year of the CFP's contract with the ESPN. Or they can approve that subcommittee's 12-team format. So, as he writes in the story, one athletic director with knowledge of the discussion said, it's 12 or back to 4. Where do you fall on all this, Jeremy?
Man, especially in a crazy season like this year with upsets all over the place, I wouldn't mind seeing the 12 team. I think that's where it probably should be. Obviously, there's got to be a year where you get the ACC as weak as it is this year. You get a Pac-12 probably as weak as it is this year. It's probably not going to look as enticing, but I think over time you're going to see some really cool matchups, some teams that you really never expected to match up with each other. And I think maybe one of these teams may be going up run and maybe cause a couple upsets, and this whole thing can, probably make sense in the end. But I'm in the camp of I like the 12 teams. I think it'll be fun for football, and I think down the stretch it'll make it fun as well.
Let me tell you why 12 teams is going to happen. It's in Ross's story. A 12-team playoff in 2024 and 2025 would bring in a combined $450 million in additional television revenue. Stop there. That's it. $450 million? You think everybody's just going to turn their nose up and walk away? No, they're not. They're going to take the $450 million. Last year was the first year that I can remember where the phrase follow the money just didn't apply, because we had no idea how to handle COVID-19 and when things were getting back to normal, what we were going to do, if we were playing, if we weren't, and money stopped making decisions. That time is over. Money is back in the driver's seat, and $450 million talks. So that's going to happen. The question is it a good thing? I have long said on here, this is not new, that I think keeping more teams involved later in the season is a good thing for everyone. It's the case in college basketball. It's the case in college baseball. Look at LSU's baseball team. Last year they started 1-8 in the league, and they made a super regional because your season's not over because you have a bad 3 weeks. Your season shouldn't be over in college football. You have a bad 2 weeks. It hurts the product. It hurts interest. It's not fun. You ought to be able to withstand a loss or two, especially if we're going to pull Texas and Oklahoma into this pressure cooker and have everybody playing LSU, Oklahoma, Texas, A&M, Auburn, Alabama, Florida. Like, you got to be able to lose some games. We can't let TCU and Baylor cakewalk through the Big 12 or Clemson kick everybody down the road in the ACC and have everybody in the SEC standing here on the outside looking in because we have a loss or two. That's kind of my thought. I'm hesitant. I know it's going to happen, and it's the same way in every sport. You win your district in high school, you're in the playoffs. In baseball, you win your division, you're in the playoffs in the MLB. In basketball, same deal. But I'm hesitant to assign automatic bids to what I'm looking at in the Big 12 and what I'm looking at in the ACC. Look at those two leagues this year. Wake Forest is in the lead in the ACC. They're going to lose again. We're going to let a two-loss I just don't think that's equitable at all. But I don't really see a way around it. I'd prefer we just pick the 12 best teams, and if 7 of them play in the Southeastern Conference, that's who's getting in. That'll never happen because you're never going to get anybody to sign off on that. But if that's what we have to do to get it to 12, I'll just deal with it.
Yeah, I think that's probably what's going to happen. If you look, even at the NFL last year, you got a Washington team who's 7-9, and they're playing a home playoff game. So it's obviously that's a weird situation. You could possibly, I don't know if you'll have a team under 500 winning their Power 5 conference, but you'll see a down year where teams are 2 and 3 losses and they'll be in the playoffs. But that's why you play the playoff games. If you're hot and you're cooking, we've seen the 2-loss LSU team win the championship. We've seen that before, but some of these teams are going to run into some real juggernauts, and then that thing will probably end real quick.
I changed my tune. This is the other part of this, is the group of 5. I changed my tune on the group of 5 when you go from 4 to 12. Look, I think there are a lot of years where a 2-loss SEC team is better than the group of 5 champion. And I think that I would vote for them to get in over the group of 5. But I do think that, generally speaking, one of the group of 5 teams can put up a fight in a 12-team playoff for a rounder. I generally do. You look at some of those Boise teams. You look at some of those Central Florida teams. Look at Cincinnati this year. They went and beat Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame's not great, but they went there and beat them. I think they can put up a fight. Would Cincinnati compete with Georgia this year? No, they wouldn't. Do I need them in a 14 playoff? No, I do not. You cannot take away a seat at that small table to give to a group of 5 team that hadn't played anybody. You bump that thing to 12, I'll live. I can more easily deflect the SEC team with 2 losses. Even though I'm fighting for their inclusion, I can more easily say, yeah, I just shouldn't have lost that one. But if we're going to go to a situation like last year where A&M goes 8-1, 9-1, and loses to Alabama, and they're out of the discussion because I need to put Cincinnati in, I can't get on board with that. But at 12, I can live with it. Where do you stand on the group of 5?
Yeah, I think you're going to have to do that. I think every league we respect, everyone does it that way. You win your division, that earns you something. And I think for college football, you've never had that. So I think with the, I guess the extra spot for the 6th spot, that would be in this year's team like Cincinnati getting that 6th spot, and then you vote the other 6 in. I think that model is probably the best model you could have. Obviously, it's going to be a bunch of SEC teams probably taking up a bunch of those 6 spots in a year like this, but I think that's the best way to do it. And for going forward, I think you're going to see some of these bad, Big 12 teams get in. You're going to see some of these down years in the ACC with, Florida State and Miami not being who they were in the past. So we'll just got to get used to that. But I think always the best team's going to win in the end, and that's why we do it.
So let's look at what the playoff would be, just for hypotheticals, just humor us with this situation of who would get in if we stopped it right now today and we were ready to announce for this season, because this is the one that we all are in the middle of and understand. Georgia is your champion in the Southeastern Conference. They are in automatically. Oregon is your champion of the Pac-12. They are in automatically. Ohio State is your champion of the Big Ten. They are in automatically. Cincinnati is your highest-ranked group of 5. They are in automatically. It's got Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State, Cincinnati. Oklahoma is your champion of the Big 12. They are in. And then your ACC champion is Wake Forest. They are in. That's your 6. So those are automatic qualifiers. And these would be the teams that would still get in, even though they've lost a game. They didn't win their conference, but they're still in. You would still include Alabama would still be in with their loss against Texas A&M. Had a bad week. No, it cost you, but you're in the dance. Clearly, we're not playing an SEC championship game in this, but you're in. Michigan, still in. Michigan State, still in. Notre Dame, still in. Oklahoma State, still in. Texas A&M, likely still in. So as we look at it, I think that's okay. I think that, your quarterback goes down and you don't know what you're doing if you're Texas A&M against Arkansas, but you come back, you beat Alabama, you beat LSU, you prove, okay, yeah, we had a rough week, but you're still in it. You didn't win your division. You didn't even have a chance to play for your conference. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about that needs to be given benefit of the doubt to the SEC. Now, this hypothetical is not perfect because we got to have conference championship games, and these teams have to play each other, so we're going to have extra losses. But the point remains that look at where some of those teams are, what they've done over the course of a season. You're not just dead when you lose your second game. Texas A&M in this year was dead when they lost that second game of the season. When they lost to Mississippi State, ball game. Doesn't have to be the case anymore, and that's what I want as an LSU person. And I've always said this too. Every time I talk about the rules in college sports, my inherent bias and desire is that LSU get a benefit from what we're talking about. And I believe expanding the playoff to 12 benefits LSU. Therefore, I'm for it. I'm not hiding that. It's a bias. It's there, and it's never going away. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and I think the beautiful thing about that, I think you made a great point earlier, is it's going to keep the intrigue for the rest of the season going a lot longer than you ever imagined. I think a game like this weekend between Ole Miss and Texas A&M, now that's a college football playoff berth game. You lose that game, now you're finding your team with 3, maybe 4 losses, and you're out of it. You win that game. Now you don't even have to win the SEC, and you feel like you have a chance to go win it all. And that's something that a lot of these teams would have never even imagined, especially a lot of these SEC teams. So I love the idea of it. I think it definitely takes the next pressure off whatever head coach you're going to have at LSU next. You don't have to beat Alabama every year and feel like you're out of it. You can maybe slip up that one time and still find a way to go do something special. So I'm in the camp of us get this thing rolling and see what happens with these 12 teams.
For sure. I'm all for it. So kind of a look at Ross Dellinger's story. Go to sportsillustrated.com, follow Ross on Twitter, and give a look to your story. But it looks like coming up here in about 3 weeks with December 1st and 2nd, some kind of decision may very well be made about the future of deciding a champion in college football. And certainly that's not something we think about this year, but there's a new coach coming in town here pretty quick, and that'll be exactly when you put your eyes on it. So relevant nonetheless here in Baton Rouge. Still a ton to get to here on a Thursday edition of Hunt and Hill. Back after this.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
FanDuel. Been telling you about it every single day and proud to be doing it. Sports betting is coming to Louisiana. No better place to get in on the action than that FanDuel Sportsbook. Look, we're giving you $100. WNXX is your promo code. Just log in and create a name for free. They give you $100 to start gambling once the Sportsbook goes live here in a matter of weeks. That's right. You register, verify now, get a free $100 bonus when the Sportsbook goes live. It's such an easy app to use. You can navigate, find your bets very easy. They boost every single day. Super boosts on the weekend. It gets you awesome odds, gets you some more cash. And you can also live bet. When games are in progress, you see a bet, you see a trend, you feel good about it, punch it in right there on your phone on the app, and they'll take that bet. The app is so easy to use. And see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Register now. Get $100 in free site credit with the promo code WNXX. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. Bonus is issued on a non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money in Louisiana. Unique user identity verification is required. The offer ends on the go-live date. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
It's round 1 of the Prep Football Playoffs, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Plus, we'll wrap up the night with the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show from 10 to midnight on YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Out in the open field on a Tuesday, Hunt and Hill. Throwback Thursday presented by Accutemp coming up in the next hour. But let's play some over-under here, Jeremy. Got some numbers for you. Should be an interesting ball game between LSU and Arkansas. We said that a bunch yesterday and on the Tiger Zone last night. But it's going to be this LSU team it's fascinating. You usually kind of know what you're going to get from an LSU football team. I got no idea what I'm going to get any Saturday from LSU, so we'll see what we can do. This first one, LSU averages 68 plays per game on the season. They run about 68 a game. Snaps for Garrett Nussmeier this weekend. The over-under I've got at 25.
I'll take the over. I think you don't make the biggest fuss you ever made with the quarterback controversy if you're not going to play the kid, and I think you do all that if you're not going to play him a series here or there. He's probably going to play a significant amount of snaps, and if that happens, I think that's going to be well over 25. So I'll take the over there.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of variables here. A lot of, how does he play? What does LSU run some tempo? Are they going 3 and out? Or are they going on a 13-play drive because he's out there the whole time? There's a lot of variables there. I'll also take the over. I think they want to get a good long look at Garrett Nussmeier here. I'm not exactly sure why. It just doesn't make a ton of sense, but again, it's interesting. I'll take the over as well. Arkansas runs the ball so often. They run it about as much as anybody in the country. They are 4th in the country in rushing yards. That means your linebackers are going to be busy. Damon Clark, among the nation's leaders in tackles. Well, I've got the over-under for him at 14.5.
14.5. It's Damon. I'll take the over here. I'll take the over. I think you're going to see a ton of, quarterback runs with KJ. You're going to see, read option. You're going to see all those things. He's going to be running from sideline to sideline, and they're going to be running a bunch of plays. So I'll take the over here.
I will take the over on this one as well. I think Damon will be all over the field. I think Arkansas will run the ball a ton in this game, and I think he will make a lot of tackles. I think he is closing in on being a finalist for the Buckus Award. He was announced as a semifinalist, certainly well-deserved. He's been fantastic. I talked to Durante Jones yesterday for my assistant coach interview that's going to air on Saturday, and I asked him in the interview about Damon Clark. He said he's just our heartbeat. He's always in the film room, always teaching. He's teaching in the film room. He's teaching on the field, on the practice field. He's working with coaches. He's just been the consummate teammate. And you would expect that out of a guy who's wearing 18. I know a lot of people are kind of annoyed with the whole 18 thing. But it does mean something. And generally speaking, you got a guy that puts that jersey on. They take things pretty seriously. And Damon has every reason to have packed it in and certainly has not. So I'll take the over there as well. Arkansas averages 243 rushing yards per game. If you told me they ran for 350 this weekend, I would not bat an eye. But I watched LSU last week hold Bama to 6. I don't know where to put this over under. I put it at 187.
I'll take the under. I like what I see.
See, you're feeling all confident now. It's a week-to-week thing with Jeremy. Sometimes he thinks his team's awful. They have no chance. Sometimes he feels good about him. Obviously, today, we've woken up, we're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good about my Tigers, especially going to be back at home, back at the crib. Yeah, I think we can hold them. 187 is very rich, especially for, a team that's going to be playing on the road. So I got the under there.
I'll take the over on that one as well. If you look at Arkansas's passing statistics, it is Treylon Burks, awesome, all-league player, all-American type guy, going to be a high draft pick. He's been sensational. And the drop-off to the number 2 receiver is massive. Mm-hmm. So we do know Arkansas is going to run the football. We know Burks will be involved in their game plan for sure. Question here on the over-under is non-Treylon Burks receiving yards for Arkansas at 50.
Non-Treylon. I'll take the over here. I think that could be a couple plays there.
It could be one big one.
Yeah, so I'll take. And then I don't know if we're doubling Treylon, that can get ugly real quick. So I'll take the over here.
I mean, when you look at their receiving stats, Treylon Burks has 48 catches. Second on the team is 16, Tyson Morris. Second on the team, Treylon Burks has 800 yards receiving. Tyson Morris has 255. Like, it is just a massive discrepancy. Burks has 8 touchdowns. Nobody else has more than 2. He is so far and away their focus that LSU's real limited back there in the secondary. We know that, but I'm going to take the under on this one. We know TDP is the feature back. We also know Armani Goodwin is healthy. Armani Goodwin carries in this game 3.5.
3.5. I'll take the under here. I don't know. I think we found something in TDP. Yep. I think he's going to take the bulk of it, and I think Kinder's kind of come into that number 2 role. So I'll take the under. I wouldn't mind seeing over, but I'll take the under
I think I'm going to take the over here. It's slight. Maybe it's only 5, but I think they're going to get him the ball a couple times. Look, TDP is the horse on this team. They're going to ride him over 100 yards against Alabama on Saturday. I thought he played a really nice game, and the offensive line did a pretty good job. Question is, if you're weak in the interior on the offensive line, which LSU very well may be with no guards, do you want to test the boundaries a little bit? Maybe put in a couple plays for Goodwin to get to the edge. That's kind of my thinking there. I'll take the over, but slightly there. Move to the Saints and the Titans. Taysom Hill snaps in this game as the quarterback. I should have added that as quarterback. 10.5.
I'll take the under here. I don't think Sean's gonna do that much with Taysom. Maybe 5 or 6, but 10. I think that's a little much. I think you'll see Trevor out there for the bulk of those QB snaps.
He's out of the concussion protocol. The 2-point conversion last week felt like a time for Taysom to be out there, and he wasn't featured there. They just ran it straight ahead with Kamara. And with Kamara banged up now and potentially unavailable, we'll see as the week progresses. Probably get another update tomorrow on the show. What do you do offensively if you're the Saints? And I think there may be some merit to getting Taysom back there and running the football with him and trying to win a numbers game. So I'll take the under 2. That's real aggressive at 10.5. But just a kind of a thought as to what we may see in Sunday's game. Adrian Peterson was just basically a non-factor, ran for about 2.5 yards per carry for the Titans last weekend. I've got his yards per carry in this game at 3.
Ooh, I'll take the over. I think 3 is just so low.
It's real low.
You don't have to do much. I mean, you go 5 for 18, you're good to go. So,
yeah, but he's not going to get 5 carries. He's going to get like 18 carries. Now, all he's got to do is bust one of them for 14, and you're feeling pretty good about it. But
I'll take the over. It's just too low.
It's very low.
If it was 4, I'd take the under. But 3 is just, I would hate if he got 3.1, and I'm like, man, what am I doing?
It's the Saints' run defense, in theory, should be very good. The Titans struggle to get Peterson going. He's been out of the league for a little bit. We'll see how much he's featured. Saints offense, absolutely disaster. Can't catch the football, can't move the chains for 3 quarters, only scored 3 points. 22 in the 4th quarter, and that blitzkrieg against the Falcons just came up short. Got a Titans defense that's very good. Saints points in the game, 20.5.
20.5. Man, I'm going to have to take the under here.
I like when I make you think. It makes me feel like I'm setting the number in the right spot. I have no qualifications to do such a thing, but it's an interesting study.
The Titans defense have been playing well, and I don't know, man. That D-line they look vicious, man. Jeffrey Simmons is playing well. They got some dudes on that D-line playing well right now. I don't know. They're one of those teams probably, you don't get up for. It's just the Titans, especially with Henry being out, but they've been playing well. So taking the under.
If Kamara doesn't play, I don't know what they're going to do. It becomes like the Mark Ingram, Kenny Stills show. That dog won't hunt with Trevor Siemian back there. I've been a little more negative on the Saints the last week and a half than most. I still think they have some really quality pieces to their team. I just don't think an NFL team can do anything in the playoffs with the weapons they have on offense right now. And if Kamara's out, it's even worse. It's just I just don't see it. Are you coming to my side on that, or you still feel like they've got enough to run the ball, play defense, and win games?
I got to see that defense get filled up on. I got to see someone really. I know Matty Ice had a day, but that's a division game. Obviously, you got to see them again and get to make some adjustments there. But I'm gonna have to see that defense give up that week in and week out. If their defense can keep it afloat, I think Sean Payton is a good enough game managing what he has at quarterback and find a way to win. So I'm going to hang on for now, but I wouldn't be shocked if I jumped off this thing in a few weeks here.
Saints and Titans at noon from Nashville on Sunday. We'll keep the NFL discussion going here in the next segment. We'll hear from LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson, his press conference yesterday. A couple of interesting clips that I pulled, want to chat about to close out this hour. And, of course, Throwback Thursday will kick off hour number 2. So come back with us right here on Hunt and Hill.
Holding down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram are now open for business and are ready to serve our customers with disaster relief employee pricing off I-10 in LaPlace. If you need sales, service, or fleet, the crews at Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram are going to do right by you.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
On Fridays, Off the Bench, the hot dog champ himself, Joey Chestnut, stops by as he gets ready to defend his pizza-eating title and a brand new D-Generation Dome. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Well, over under in the last segment. Now it's on Thursday. It's customary. We'll have a little Super Bowl discussion, talk about our NFL teams, the teams we still believe have a chance to win the Super Bowl. We've gotten a little bit aggressive over the last few weeks. I'm cutting things down significantly. Right now, I have 4 NFC teams, the Packers, Bucks, Cardinals, and Rams. I have 3 AFC teams, the Bills, Ravens, and Chargers. That's all I've got left as teams that I believe can win the Super Bowl. Jeremy has been a little more lenient, probably a little more measured, probably a little more correct than me. He's still left a few more teams in there. He still believes in his Browns. He's still got the Chiefs. Everybody else, we're on basically the same page. Neither of us have the Cowboys because we didn't start with the Cowboys, so can't add anybody back. Once they're gone, they're gone. That's all there is to talk about. And Jeremy, I'll start because I'm taking another team off my list, and it's for a reason. I've got a team on my list that is the worst run defense in football. They allow 162 yards a game on the ground. That is 24 yards worse than anyone in football. Opponents are averaging 5 yards a carry. 3 backs have gone over 100 yards on them. I'm sorry, the Chargers are gone. If you can't play defense and you can't stop anybody from running the football, how the hell are you going to beat some of these teams when it gets to playoff time? You're not. So I think Herbert's good. I think they got some weapons. You can't stop the run, you're out. So I've got two teams left in the AFC that I think can win the Super Bowl. Got the Bills and the Ravens. NFC's a little more open up with the Packers, Bucks, Cardinals, and Rams. But that's what I got. Stop the run, Chargers. You stink.
32 for 38, 356, 2 tubs. What did you like about Justin? What does he have to do?
He can't play defense.
Oh, man. Look, man. My quarterback's cooking like that. He's going to stay on this list a long time. So, look, I'm worried about it. But I know when you got that guy, it's going to come down to who has the ball last. And you got to give Justin the ball one more time, man. Justin's going to cook. So,
He's got a huge arm. I don't watch a ton of the Chargers, but I've seen him a couple times in the last 2 weeks, and he makes some throws. And you're just like, whoa, that's That's the real deal.
Yeah, he has a different arm talent, and he's a lot more athletic than you give him credit for. So I got to keep them on there. I don't think AFC. I got the Chiefs still in there. I think obviously that's nothing like you thought the Chiefs would be playing like. They've just not looked good this year. I think the defense has played a little better. Obviously, you haven't gone against some of the elite offenses. You got Jordan Love, and then you played another team, and I think they played Daniel Jones the week before. So they haven't really played elite offenses, so we'll see. So I'm going to keep them around for a little bit. And the Browns, they showed some fight. That's why I kept them on the list. I said there's too much talent on that roster for them to just fall off the face of the earth. They've had a little more pulse here lately. They found Chubb again. Having Chubb back means the world to that offense. And so I think I'm going to keep the Browns there. And the Ravens, obviously, man, that Lamar Jackson, he's special. He's going to keep them in every game. And the Bills, they had a little hiccup, but we've seen them have hiccups this season.
So ugly.
Yeah, we've seen them have hiccups this season before and bounce back. So I think they have so much talent, and I love their head coach and the character he brings to that team. So I'll have the Bills there in the AFC. And NFC, I'm going to stick to the teams I got. I think I got 4 left in the NFC. Rams, that was not a pretty performance last week, but I think there's a lot of talent on that roster. You got to get Von Miller next week, so I'm going to keep them around. And the Cards, obviously, no Kyler Murray, so find a way to go win a big division game. That was special. That lets you know how much depth they have on that team. So Cards aren't going anywhere, and the Bucks with the GOAT. And then Packers, man. Gotta love John Wick at quarterback. He may get another weapon here or there, but we'll see. But I'm keeping the Packers there.
So a couple questions for you. I want to go through this exercise as we this is a segment where we just kind of bebop around the NFL. Who do you think is going to win the AFC West? The Chargers are sitting there with the Raiders at 5-3, and the Chiefs and Broncos are both 5-4. Everybody's over 500 in the division, but none of the teams have been awesome. Who do you think is going to win that division?
Said it a long time ago. I'm going to have to die on this hill. I'm dying on the Mahomes hill, man.
It's not the worst hill to die on, but I mean, it's just a lot of people are backing off.
Yeah, a lot of people are backing off. I'm going to wait. I'm going to need to see that just ugly, like, man, how the heck did we lose to this team loss? I think they're going to still be in every game. They're not. It's going to be hard to just blow them off the field. So I'm going to say the Chiefs find a way to get the AFC West done.
Okay, and then this is the other part of the exercise I wanted to do. I'll do it first to give you a little bit of time to think. Power rank teams in the NFL 1, 2, and 3. Best team in the NFL, second best, third best in the entirety of the league.
Okay.
So go ahead if you want to go. Yeah, go ahead.
I think number one, I got to go with the Cardinals right now. I think especially just how as explosive as they look. In the one game they lost, it just was a hiccup away. They're right there on the goal line with chances to score. So they could easily be sitting here undefeated right now. So I got to put the Cardinals number one. Number two, I'm going to go with the Bucks. Tough loss on the road to the Saints, but, division game, that's how that goes sometimes. But I think, with all the weapons that they have on the offensive side, and then they're going to get their 2 starting cornerbacks back on the outside, they'll be right there. And I think number 3, I think I'm going to go with the Rams.
Interesting.
I'm going to go with the Rams here. That was a tough home loss, but I still believe in that team. I still believe in McVay. I think Stafford, just a tough game for him, but he's going to battle back and figure that thing out. And I think I want to see what Von Miller can bring. If you can get anything from Von Miller, that's going to open up that defense up a ton. So those are my top 3 right there.
See, mine doesn't really look anything like that, which is an interesting piece here. I've got, number one, I've got the Packers. The Packers, we know what they have on the outside. They've got Adams, Valdez-Scantling. We'll see what Odell decides to do. It sounds a little bit like New Orleans to me, but if they could add him, they can run the ball. I mean, they have not been a very solid running team, really Rodgers' entire time there, and that's not the case. Now, they can run it, and their defense is good enough. So I like the Packers just because they got a quarterback who's just unbelievable back there. I've got, at number 2, I've got the Bucks. They still have all those pieces from such a good team. They've got all those weapons for Tom to go throw with. I think they're going to be really difficult to stop when it comes to time. And then number 3, I've got the Cardinals. So, but the point being, I don't have a single AFC team in my top 3. I don't even know who I would put as the best team in the AFC. I mean, I thought Buffalo, I felt pretty good about Buffalo being it, and then they go and they can't score a touchdown against Jacksonville, which, by the way, really hurts my argument that I make all the time when I talk about college baseball and how I don't judge teams on a weekend because baseball is the least predictable sport. And I always say, in the NFL, if you take the worst team in the league and play the best team in the league 10 times, the best team's going to win 10 times. You go in Major League Baseball, They play a 3-game series. The worst team could easily win 2 out of 3. It happens all the time. Well, I can't have Jacksonville beating Buffalo. That does not help my argument when I try to make that. But so I don't have any idea what to think about the AFC. I guess the easy default pick would be the Ravens. But, I mean, Cincinnati went in there and just beat the tar out of them.
Yeah, the AFC just isn't what it normally is. And normally you see the Chiefs flying high year in and year out, and that just hasn't been the case this year. And so I don't see. I think that the biggest thing with the AFC is those defenses, man. I can't point to a defense. Obviously, the Bills, they've probably been the most consistent all year, but in the AFC, those defenses have given up some stuff. Even the Bengals, they had the best record, and you saw Cleveland just did to them last week. So
lose 2 games in a row. It just
they let the immortal Mike White, throw a party on them. So
these creative player quarterbacks that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, so man, that AFC, man, it's gonna be tricky, but that's why we play the games. I'm excited to see how this thing plays out, and I'm excited to see if the Chiefs can kind of turn this thing around.
All right, that's our kind of look at the NFL and our Super Bowl discussions. We'll take a timeout, come back after this. We will hear from LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson. He had a press conference after National Signing Day yesterday. He's had a couple of interesting things to say. Want to get to that as the close of hour number 1. Stay with us on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
You never heard of Brake Medics? Don't think you're missing anything. They haven't been here very long, but they're here now in Baton Rouge. It's been very successful over in Texas, and we've got this unbelievable service now ready to roll in Baton Rouge. Brake Medics comes to your house and fixes your brakes, comes to your office and fixes your brakes. They got ASC certified techs. They've got full insurance to service you at your home or office. No one's got time to go sit in a body shop and wait until they get to your car and then wait for them to fix your car and sit there for hours and hours on end. No. You work from home, they can come to your house while you're on the job. You never have to get up from the kitchen table. They will come in and they will fix your brakes. They did it for me this week. Came in, I was at home. They pulled into my backyard into the driveway, pulled the truck up, got the jack out, jacked the car up, changed the brakes. Took less than an hour for them to finish the job. BrakeMedics.com is where you can go, submit your information, get a free quote. That costs nothing to get a quote. And they'll come out and service your brakes right there wherever you are. From Baker to Bruley, Prairieville to Denham Springs, everywhere in between, they come to you. BrakeMedics.com is where they want to send you. We make house calls.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales service and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
And our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Coming up on a Thursday edition of Early Line, has Odell Beckham been signed? Who are some good underdog plays this weekend? Who should I pick up in fantasy football? We answer all these questions and get ready for the sports weekend. Join us, 2 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Well, if you were wondering if it was going to take Jay Johnson a little time to get his feet on the ground, understand the program, learn how to sell it and recruit, don't worry about that anymore. I mean, what a signing day haul from Jay Johnson yesterday. Signed 21 guys, and it's the best collection of talent I've ever seen in a signing class. Now, as he said yesterday, it's not over because these guys have got to play their last year out, either junior college or in high school, and then they've got to draft. And a lot of these guys are serious draft risk. So, you know, they're not getting all 21 of these guys. Some of these guys are going to take a huge chunk of money and go start their professional careers. But it's a good place to start. And when you sign 21 of them, you lose a few, you'll survive. And it was amazing. So I saw a couple of clips from Jay Johnson that I thought were interesting. And the first one's talking about LSU and how he sells it as a stepping stone towards becoming a great major league player. And he mentioned some players by name, and I thought it was a really good bite.
So, great day. You know, like I said, a lot went into it. There's been a lot of low sleep, high coffee nights since the end of June to get to today, and well worth it. And there's another part of this process. You know, obviously, this is a special place and a special experience. And when you talk about, you know, guys like Alex Bregman and DJ LeMahieu and Kevin Gosman, all the guys that used LSU as their development path to be, you know, Major League Baseball All-Stars, you know, we want these guys to do that as well. So it's a great start, you know, and now we'll get into that next phase of why this is important for them. So great day to be a Tiger.
That's the deal with signing day in football. When they get your signature, it's go on. Now he says, all right, we got the signatures. We got guys who were interested in coming and being part of LSU. Now we got to recruit them away from the pros. We had to recruit them away from Vanderbilt and Texas and Mississippi State. Now we got to recruit them away from the Dodgers. Like it's a totally different deal.
Yeah, it's a whole different world. It's a whole lot of different things going on, and that's why I love Jay Johnson. He knows the task at hand, and that was the first part of it. Now you got to get some of these kids. Obviously, it's going to be very enticing for some of them to take that money and move on to minor league baseball. But LSU is one of the better places to play in this country. Obviously, you break an attendance record year in and year out, and creating that environment in Alex Box. That can be enticing as well. So I hope Jay Johnson can sweep some of these kids in that he recruited.
Now, a football coach that's recruiting, what's job number one in football recruiting for a football coach, if I ask you?
What's job number one in recruiting?
What's the most important thing in recruiting for the LSU football coach?
What's the most important thing in recruiting? I feel like it could be a lot of things, but I would go getting the guys in your state.
That's exactly right. You have to lock down the state of Louisiana. In baseball, it's not really like that. It's, yeah, you got to build with some Louisiana guys. You got Aaron Nola in your backyard. That'll work. We'll take Mason Katz. He can play a little bit. I mean, yeah, you can win with some Louisiana guys. Kate Doty's a pretty good player. Yeah. Gavin Dugas hit 20 home runs. Of course, there's some good players. But baseball, you go to these showcases, you go to these Perfect Game, you go to Team USA, and you can find anybody. You put on that purple and gold hat, you can recruit nationally. LSU in this class signed 2 kids from Louisiana, 3 from California. Now, I realize where Jay Johnson's coming from, and some of these guys he's gotten, they were committed to Arizona, but he has gone absolutely nationally with recruiting, and that's what he said.
The thing for LSU baseball is going to be the best players, to help us get to Omaha. And I will say this, and I'll say this about the players on our team right now. I couldn't be more impressed about the in-state players here. I could not be more impressed. And when I look around our roster and the players that we have from the state of Louisiana is really awesome. I think in looking at that, though, the fact that there was so many, it actually gave us some flexibility, with this to go get what we needed. And so I don't know that there's a trend. If there's a really good player from Baton Rouge, West Monroe, New Orleans, Slidell, or wherever, and they can help us get back to the College World Series, then we're definitely going to be recruiting them. So there's no intentionality behind any of that. And I think you'll see a couple more guys come on board.
It's
no, I don't know that I have an answer for that, really.
It's going to be he's going to recruit nationally. He's got a national brand. He's been out in the West Coast. He's got guys like Mikey Romero that committed from California. He's got guys committed from Canada in this class. So it's just wherever you need to go. I didn't he mentioned it, his West Monroe, Slidell. He hadn't been here that long, but he's got it kind of figured out. One of the two guys from Louisiana in this class is Gavin Guidry, who is a star at Barb, which is a baseball factory. He's a pitcher. He swings the bat. He's an exceptional player, and he's absolutely a guy who could sign a professional contract when this day comes, when draft day comes. But there's reason to believe, and it's stronger ties when you're in Louisiana, that Gavin Guidry may really want to play at LSU. And I think that Jay Johnson told a couple really cool stories about Gavin, and we'll get to one in a second. The other one was he was introduced, he said on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, he told Gavin Guidry and his dad, you need to get to campus. And they sat down and talked. And this was one of the key guys that he wanted to make sure was locked up in this class when he took over, and certainly got his signature yesterday. That's a guy that the hope is going to be a part of this program for a few years after he finishes his career at Barb. But he tells another really cool story about why he thinks that Gavin Guidry will turn down some money and come play at LSU because of the day he had with his dad and grandfather.
And the other thing, too, is his commitment to be at LSU. I mean, we had a really cool day probably about a month ago. He brought his dad and his grandpa and his uncle. It was like on a Friday at like noon, and came over for an unofficial visit. We just walked around the field, and how excited all of them were that he was going to be playing here. And I think there's something special to that exists at this school and at this program that doesn't exist at other places. And so he's a big-time piece of this thing going forward. And his ability obviously speaks for itself, but the competitive nature of Gavin is what really stands out to me.
That's what you can speak to, because you can recruit nationally, but you can't lose that. You can't lose the guys from the state that it means so much to. You don't have to make up the whole team, but you got to have some of that, and that's like you. I mean, that's what that was your thing in football.
Yeah, that's definitely it's so important. I think you get feel good stories like that with kids who've always watched this program from since they can remember, and putting the purple and gold on. It didn't matter if Jay Johnson was the coach, if Maneri was the coach, they would want to be Tigers no matter what. And so having those relationships with those players and having their family and the people of Louisiana get to be a part of this great university, I think that's so important. And those feel-good stories are what stand the test of time and what gets those big-time recruits to continue time and time again come play for LSU.
It's I love it when Joe Burrow puts an EAUX on the back of his jersey and feels like an adopted son. That's phenomenal. I mean, Anthony Renato over at Cards and Culture was from up in New England and came down here and becomes a star at LSU and now lives here, and that's great as well. But you got to have the Mason Katz, Rafe Rhymes guys that just bleed purple and gold that want it so bad. You got to have, like you're talking about, the guys in your class that wanted to be part of the state and you want to play for LSU. So I think it's very important that you keep some of that in the program. And it sounds like Gavin Guidry is a guy who absolutely wants to play here in Baton Rouge. So again, this is going to be a class that is really sweating on signing day, on draft day, because of the ridiculous amount of talent that he has brought in. But it is an absolute haul, and he hasn't even had that long to put it together. That's the thing. You give him actual time to go out there and do it over years and years. This is going to be a guy that looks like he's going to set the world on fire in recruiting, and that's exciting.
Yeah, that's the first thing I notice every time you look up, especially after he got hired. Like you said, he was drinking a lot of coffee late at night. You can tell because he's put this thing together for this upcoming class, but the years down the road, you're looking up this guy's committing down the line as well. So he's stacking this thing up pretty nicely, and I'm excited to see how they take the field and really perform.
Tigers will play against ULL on Sunday at noon. I just got a text from Bill Franquez, SID over there. They will have concessions on Sunday at noon. So if you go out to scrimmages during the week, if you've been doing that on the weekends, like it's just kind of come on in, bring whatever you got. They're going to be selling concessions at the game on Sunday. I think they're playing somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 innings, I believe, 15 innings, something like that, against ULL. So get out there and check out the boys at the box this weekend. All right, it's time to turn the page to Hour 2 on a Thursday. You know what that means. It'll be a Throwback Thursday presented by AccuTemp. You won't want to miss it. Finish up with Take It or Leave It as well. Come back with us for Hour 2. It's Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my four boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Rafino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Injury lawyers.
1, 2, 3.
Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour number 2 of Hunt and Hill. I want to clarify something I finished the first hour with there. I just misread Bill's text. I skipped a word. It's my bad. No concessions on Sunday for the scrimmage against ULL. So there will not be concessions open at LSU and ULL for a noon scrimmage time on Sunday. My mistake. Misread the text. Sorry for spreading false information. Hopefully that clarifies things, and we can move on to some Throwback Thursday. It's presented by AccuTemps. Let's throw it into the Wayback Machine.
Throwback Thursday, presented by AccuTemp, your AC and electrical experts.
Now he's going to roll back to the near side, and he's going to throw it. Oh, it's going to be caught! Caught! Touchdown! Holy cow!
Hunt and Hill's Throwback Thursday.
Today's story is going to be told a little bit differently. There are no audio or video highlights to pull from. It's a day that's largely been forgotten in time, but it's relevant as ever this week. For this game, no championships were eventually won, at least not that year, and there's no record crowd. College game day didn't show up. Hell, neither did an 11-year-old Hunt Palmer. He was offered a free ticket, not that he was going to pay for it at 11, but offered a ticket. Decided a weekend at home in Shreveport playing King Griffey Jr. baseball on Nintendo 64 and probably eating some Red Baron frozen pizzas was a better option than watching LSU play on this day. But I'll tell you who did show up. There's a group of Tigers ready to finish off a dismal season the right way. And that's the genesis of today's story. Jerry DiNardo brought back the Magic in 1995, took that team to a bowl game after just a miserable run of LSU football. In 1997, his Tigers climbed to the top 10 after knocking off top-ranked Florida. That was really the zenith of the DiNardo era. Rock bottom was a 20-7 loss to Houston in November of 1999. That loss was LSU's 8th in a row, and it dropped the Tigers' record to 2-8 on the season. Athletic director Joe Dean decided it was time to make a move, so he fired Jerry DiNardo with one game remaining on the schedule, and he promoted Hal Hunter to be the interim head coach for one game. Hunter had served as the offensive line coach for DiNardo at Vanderbilt, assumed the same role at LSU. And this wasn't some come in and save the season role for Hal Hunter. It was, hey, here's the headset, call timeouts. If you want to go for it on 4th down, let them know. That week in practice, LSU never put the pads on, helmets and shorts. All the drama that had been stirred up by razor-thin losses to top 10 teams in Georgia, Mississippi State, and Alabama, all that was gone. No more screaming in the locker room. No more blame games. No more drama. It was 1 week to go out and play a football game against the 7-3 Arkansas team that was ranked in the top 20. And play they did. And things didn't exactly get off to a roaring start. LSU's offense under the direction of Josh Booty started with consecutive 3-and-outs, and on his third drive, LSU finally registered a first down, but then promptly fumbled the ball away 2 plays later. Booty was far from the only reason LSU had struggled all year, but his stat line was not exactly inspiring, to put it mildly. He'd only completed 48% of his throws. He'd thrown 19 interceptions against just 7 touchdowns. It was time for a change, and Rohan Davey was the change that day. After Arkansas took its first lead with the 26-yard field goal early in the second quarter, Davey took the reins of the Tiger offense and went 3-and-out. Tiger punter Corey Gibbs did pin Arkansas inside the 5-yard line with the punt, and the Tiger defense responded with a 3-and-out to hold. Dominic Davis then returned a short punt 20 yards to set LSU up with 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line, and Davis would do all the work from there, taking 2 handoffs to cover the 28 yards for a Tiger touchdown that gave LSU a 7-3 lead. LSU's defense, led by names like Ryan Clark, Jarvis Green, Norman Lejeune, stopped the Hogs again, got the Tigers the ball back. 3 plays into that drive, Davey found Reggie Robinson for a 67-yard touchdown to extend LSU's lead to 14-3. The big plays were coming by the truckload. On Arkansas's next drive, Clint Sterner, quarterback at the time, was picked off by Johnny Mitchell near midfield with 53 seconds to play in the half. And 2 plays later, Davey hit Rondell Mealy for a 48-yard touchdown. The shackles of the 2-8 start, coaching controversy were all ripped free, and the Tigers were rolling in Death Valley, 21-3 at halftime. LSU took the ball to start the second half. Davey hit Robinson for 15 yards. Then Mealy ran for 6. Arkansas jumped off sides. Davey ran for 18 more. And then Mealy punctuated the drive with a 20-yard touchdown run to make it 28-3. LSU had scored on 4 straight drives for 28 unanswered points, and the route was absolutely on. Arkansas did answer with the score on the ensuing drive, but the fireworks were done. The grand finale was LSU's 60-yard touchdown strike from Davey to Robinson with 9 minutes and 18 seconds left to play. For the day, Rohan completed 10 of his 12 throws for 224 yards and 3 touchdowns. Reggie Robinson finished with 154 yards on 5 catches. 2 of those catches were for touchdowns. LSU rolled up 411 yards on a top 20 team 6 days after being held to 7 points by Houston. It was a day for Tiger fans and players alike to blow off some steam. There was a coaching change, a quarterback shuffle, an administration putting together a search for the next leader of the program. Any of that sound familiar? I think we're kind of looking at it right now. It was 1999. It was Arkansas. It was a win. And that's today's Throwback Thursday presented by Accutemp. Accutemp came out to my house this week. If you saw me on Twitter, tweeted it out. The AC just shut down earlier this week. That was it. So Accutemp came out, sent a technician. He said, this is an old unit. We looked up the serial number online. It's 23 years old. That's a pretty good run for an AC, but it was time for a new one. So they sent Kerry in the next day. He came up there, showed me everything, walked me through it all, took a video that he was going to send to the technicians who were going to come and install a new unit. We were all on the same page. He put me through some pricing. We looked at it, and if you're thinking, I don't have the cash to pay for a big air conditioning product right now. Well, they've got financing options, some of which are 0%. You can pay things, and you can get a new AC unit for less than $100 a month from over there at Accutemp. Everything they have done has been first class. They have sent 3 different teams over to my house, one to diagnose the problem, one to go through pricing and go through the project with me, lay out everything step by step. Everything has gone exactly according to plan. They came in yesterday to my house, went up in the attic. They were up there for a couple of hours. I got into my house from the show yesterday. It was 61 degrees. The air conditioner was humming so good. They wanted to make sure that it was willing to blast, and it was cold out, so they did it. It was chilly in the old house, but Accutemp, everything was absolutely fabulous from start to finish, and we appreciate them coming out to my house and for sponsoring Throwback Thursday. Everything over at Accutemp's awesome. They give you service to the highest degree. AccutempBR.com is the website. Your thoughts on that day? It's hard to imagine a 2-8 LSU football team. It really is.
Ooh, very hard too. I think with my sunshine and rainbows I've been pumping all week. I love to see the backup coming in and slinging the ball all over the yard. I think if that happened Saturday night, you probably wouldn't get too many complaints from me.
It's shocking the parallels. It's an Arkansas game. There's a coach that's just been fired. There's no interim situation, but the quarterback back and forth. Booty started that game. They brought Rohan in. He didn't throw it a lot, but he hit some huge plays in the game. It was just a team that played really, really free. Blaine Besh played in that game. He's here on our staff, and he said it was the best week of practice ever. They just said, look, we're going to go out there and have some fun, cut it loose. And I think there's an element of that to this LSU team. It's not exactly the same, but I think you saw that with the decision to go after Alabama and blitz as much as they did on Saturday. Let's go, let's do it. And they did. And so, again, not a game that was a sellout crowd, a college game day, or led to a championship or produced an unbelievable moment. It was just a team that was freed up after the controversy of having their head coach being fired and went out there and played free. And you hope that the interesting thing is that team, as terrible as their record was, if you heard it in the script there, they played really close games with Alabama. They would have beaten Mississippi State if there was review, because there was a fumble that was not called. They ruled him down. They scored the next play. It was obviously a fumble. They would have changed it. Played Georgia really tight that year. So it was interesting, different times for LSU, but obviously the Saban era was to come next. And we don't know what era is coming next, but we know that LSU's brass is just putting themselves in position to hire the next coach. And so too many parallels not to do it. But the interesting thing about this game, you can find every single LSU-Arkansas game for the last 20 years on YouTube. There are highlights either from the Arkansas side, because you've got the miracle on Markham, you've got the triple overtime game in 2007. All these couldn't find anything on this game. It's like a game that's like totally forgotten. We just call it the Hal Hunter game because he was the first interim coach since 1916. Got that tidbit a little bit earlier today from our next guest. Obviously, it's happened a couple times since then, but it's just a lot of parallels between that game and what we'll see in Tiger Stadium on Saturday.
Yeah, that definitely is. The thought of the LSU program, like obviously we have the hindsight now, Nick changing the program around, but to think that we'd be in a situation this year to possibly not even make a bowl game, I think that's just really hard to imagine. So I think there's a bunch of parallels you can see. Obviously, Arkansas team coming in Baton Rouge feeling like they have a really great chance to win this football game. So we got to come out there and fight, and we got to give ourselves a chance to do something and get back to a bowl game, because that's really just a crazy spot to be in for LSU program.
All right, let's take a time out. We always have a player who played in the game, not this week for a couple of reasons. We're going to have Scott Rabalais of The Advocate on. He covered that game, covered that coaching search that followed. He's been on the beat for a very long time and can give us some context there. And he also published a story in The Advocate today talking about the 3 targets that he believes are on LSU's radar for this new coaching search. So a lot to get to with Scott Rabalais. That's next on a Throwback Thursday on Hunt and Hill.
Serving up the latest from the sports world. It's Hunt and Hill. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It is not too late. You can enroll today at ITI. Winter classes start November 17th. Our industry-driven curriculum will put you on a new career on a fast track. Enroll today for a better life.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
And our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Ryan Clark joins us. We'll take a deeper dive into Arkansas, and Mike Triplett joins us as well. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's a Throwback Thursday presented by AccuTemp, AccuTempBR.com for all your heating, AC, plumbing needs over there at AccuTemp. Bring on Scott Rabalais now from The Advocate. Scott, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm just we just finished with the first tip-off luncheon of a couple of years with
Exactly
Coach
right.
over here at LaBerge, and he was very entertaining, very informative, as very acerbic as always.
We're going to get to some of that. There's a lot going on with LSU. Obviously, it's an interesting time to be a writer in your position and having these microphones in front of us as well. But let's start with the Throwback Thursday portion of this. The Arkansas game in 1999. It was a 2-8 LSU team, and the decision was made to move on from Jerry DiNardo after a 20-7 loss to Houston. Your memories of that season, that kind of run up until that game?
Well, obviously, DiNardo, things went well for 3 years. Bring back the magic. The program seemed to be back on the rise after 3 straight losing seasons. In '98, they were ranked in the top 10 and had a losing season, so you knew Jerry was on the hot seat going into the '99 season a bit. It doesn't take much, as we've learned at LSU over the years, including this year. And they started out 2-0 with a couple of non-conference wins, then they lost, 8 straight losses. And finally, they let him go with an open date before the Arkansas game, which was back then, of course, played on the Friday after Thanksgiving, as a lot of people remember on CBS. And so they had an open date, so they let him go, and they played the game with Hal Hunter, the offensive line coach, in the interim position, and they played free and they played loose, and they beat a good Arkansas team 35-10, and it was kind of a small blip, but a kind of a bounce back to what would become with LSU football under Nick Saban. Of course, 2 years later, they're SEC champions, and 4 years later, when it seemed like they're in the darkest of times again, they win the national championship. So it kind of, you could argue it started that day.
Yeah, I hear 8 straight losses, and I start thinking about like Vanderbilt teams that are just totally incompetent and have no chance. That wasn't the case with this '99 team. There were NFL guys all over the field for that team. There was some serious talent. It's just one of those years where everything goes wrong, right?
Yes, I mean, Jerry recruited some good players. The team in 2001, that 2 years later would win the SEC championship, where a lot of those key players were recruited by Jerry DiNardo. Josh Reed and Dominic Davis and Trev Falk and Rohan Davey, and there were a lot of very good players on that team. I think this went bad. I mean, they got smoked literally by Auburn, 41-7. Lost a close one to Georgia where they could have made a 2-pointer and didn't win. Lost the heartbreaker at Miss State in a game that we were talking about earlier this morning. If there was replay, I think they would have overturned and called a fumble on Miss State as they went in for the winning touchdown. Lost a heartbreaker to Alabama. So there were games that could have changed the season, but these things kind of, as we've seen this year, that sometimes they take a momentum of their own, and it just got to be untenable, and you just get to the point. They got to the point where they're like we have to make a move, and of course you had a relatively new chancellor named Mark Emmert, who was in charge of the school at the time, and he said that day that they announced Jerry's firing on November 15th, 1999. Success in LSU football is essential for the success of Louisiana State University. And they weren't being successful, and so they felt they had to make a change. What was true 22 years ago is still true today.
Talk about a guy that I think doesn't get much love nowadays from the Tiger faithful, Rondell Mealy. Talk about the impact he had on the game that day in 1999.
Well, Rondell Mealy, I don't remember his exact numbers. I remember more the passing numbers. But Rondell, of course, had played his whole career in the shadow of Kevin Falk, and he finally got a chance to shine that year. He would have been a starter in a lot of other places, and I think I don't remember his exact numbers that day, but obviously the whole offense performed very well and very free, and Rondell was a heck of a player. He had that great game in the Independence Bowl. People recall against Notre Dame, and he had a lot of talent, and if he'd gone somewhere else like today, you might think he might be a guy ripe for the transfer portal, but back then he stuck it out and finally maybe saved some of his best for last that day against Arkansas.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit, Scott. There's a lot that I want to talk to you about. You've got a story at the Advocate about the coaching search. Jeremy and I have talked a lot over the last couple of weeks about how quiet things have been externally. You newspaper guys have a way of getting in there and figuring things out, and you've said that you feel like there are three guys who are kind of LSU's target. Can you speak to that?
Sure. I mean, just talking, just hearing things. And this is not just supposition. This is with some sourcing, and I think the top three targets for LSU are Jimbo Fisher at A&M, of course, Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, and Mel Tucker at Michigan State. These are not huge revelations, maybe of Lincoln Riley to some people. And I'm not saying they're going to definitely get one of those guys, but I think I was told last week that Scott Woodward had five guys probably on his list, and he's going to get somebody by the time he gets down to five, because the offer could be substantial. I've heard it could be $100 million package. I've heard people say, no, tell me that. No, that's not true. But for the right coach, I don't think they would pay Billy Napier that. And I don't think they'd get down to Billy Napier, but I don't think they would pay Billy Napier $100 million, but for 10 years or 8 years or whatever. But I think they would, for the right coach, for somebody like Jimbo, somebody like Lincoln Riley, maybe even Mel Tucker. So those are the three guys that stand out the most. And I don't think it surprises anyone to think that Jimbo Fisher is the apple of Scott Woodward's eye in his coaching search. They were together they came up together at LSU when Scott was working for Emmert as head of his director of external affairs for LSU, and Jimbo was offensive coordinator under Saban. And I think he's the first one who's going to tell him no, and then you might move on to Tucker. I think everyone thinks Riley is more of a long shot. I won't kid you there. I think even people at LSU think he's a long shot. But there are reasons for all those guys to want to stay where they are, and there's reasons for them to want to leave. But I think there's a good shot that it ends up being one of those three guys. And if you get to if you ask me who 4 and 5 are, I can't really say with any certainty. Like I said, I think there's probably some feelings for Dave Aranda, at LSU for all his years he was here. And Billy Napier might be someone who's eventually would take the job. Lane Kiffin would take the job, but I just don't think Scott Woodward's cup of tea. But I think Jimbo is the first one, and he'll see if he can make them, if they can make him say yes to what would be a very lucrative offer.
Scott Rabalais from The Advocate joining us here on Hunt and Hill. I talked yesterday about how I just have no idea how coaching searches work. I don't know timelines. I don't know who you talk to when you make offers, all that kind of stuff. It's way over my head. But I've been asked a number of times if I think that Scott Woodward's already made the hire, and I just have no idea. Do you think that there's a chance that Scott Woodward's already come to an agreement with someone?
I think there's a chance. Hunt, I do. I had one person who I just can't think, I can't put a lot of stock in what they say that he already has someone in mind. Certainly he's made an offer. Like to make an offer or have a deal, they're two different things. But
sure.
to have someone say, I'm coming at the end of the season, I assume is what you're getting at. I think there's a slight chance of that. I think it's still a lot of, I'm talking to agents and that sort of thing. Every coach has an agent now, and that gives coaches a level of deniability that they can say, well, I haven't talked to anyone, and be telling somewhat the truth, because they're letting their agents do the talking. But I think we'll see this move very fast forward. Now what if it's somebody like Matt Rule or something like that. It was at the Carolina Panthers right now. Do you wait till the end of the NFL season? Does he leave before the end of the season, like a Bobby Petrino or something like that? Well, I don't know, and I'm not saying it's him, but I'm just saying, as a for instance. So, but I think they'd like to get this thing wrapped up in early December. But this is not just, hey, they decided the Kentucky game that they got to make a move. This has been going on for a while. I think that Woodward said, I think the job is too big for Orgeron, and I'm going to have to make a change. And they got proven out during the middle of the season. And of course, as we all know, the early signing period probably is driving a lot of these early firings and pursuits of other coaches elsewhere. So I think we still got about 3 or 4 weeks left of this, and we'll see who they wind up with.
What is moving your meter the most on campus right now? Will Wade's team winning by 60, the Kim Mulkey debut, Jay Johnson's #1 class. What kind of has caught your attention more so than the others?
Well, that's a really good question. I mean, I think they're all pretty significant.
Sure.
I mean, Mulkey, for the fact that there's an excitement that hasn't been there for years. I think with Will Wade's team, I know they was just ULM, but they're not a badly coached team or anything like that. And I think it was impressive to see there's big expectations with Adam Miller, and without him that they looked really good and they looked better on defense and everything. And then of course Jay Johnson, I think everyone is super excited, if you're LSU fans, baseball fans, about the prospects of the baseball team, that they could have a really excellent roster. The expectations right away will be for them to go to Omaha, and I always say it's a crapshoot once you get there. You never really know, but he knows that. He knows what he's getting into, and I think that they're going to have a very good potential to do that. And of course, this recruiting class will help them in the years to come. But wow, I mean, the guy's impressive. I liken him to Nick Saban, but with a bit more personality and more personable. He's very focused, very driven, very very detail oriented, very granular, like a Kim Mulkey. Kim Mulkey said, and I know Will Wade says this kind of thing too. They're going to get the scouting reports that are more detailed than they've ever had. I'm like, I bet that's right. And these are all coaches who are very detail oriented and driven, and I think that's what the kind of coach Scott Woodward is looking for in a overall sense too with football.
All right, so I got a football question for you. 2-part question here. What condition do you think Coach Orgeron left this football program after his departure? And once you answer that, do you think that matters to the next head coach on Scott Woodward's list of candidates?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, Jeremy, because you had this great season that was as good as anyone could hope for, any program could hope to have for 2 years ago, but now you're going to have to build back up. And I guess I'll say on balance, he didn't leave it as good as he got it, because I mean they were Les Miles averaged 10 wins a year, and they've only had 9 wins combined the last 2 years. Now one was a COVID year and all that stuff. I realize. So the fact that you have to build back up, they didn't have that far to climb from 2016 to 2019. I guess I would say the fact that they have a lot farther to climb. I mean, you're fighting to stay out of the cellar in the SEC West this Saturday when you play Arkansas. So I would say that. And does it matter to the next coach? I think there's a lot of confidence. One thing, if I'm Scott Woodward, I don't think I'm saying to the next guys, look, the last 2 coaches I had, they weren't pretty football geniuses, and they won national championships. Just think what you could do. And I think the ego that these guys have is certainly, yeah, he's right. I can really win there. So I don't think anybody's going to be discouraged by that. The state of the program. I think they see the talent base you have, and the talent that could be returning on this team, and the players you're able to recruit in Louisiana, and of course the area everybody talks about from East Texas over to the Florida Panhandle, that can allow them to get this thing back very quickly where they want it to be. I wouldn't expect them to be in the playoff next year, but not long after that. Scott, thanks so much for your time. We'll do it again soon. My pleasure, guys. Thank you. Scott Rabalais from The Advocate again had a story up on The Advocate today that says the focus looks like it's Lincoln Riley, Jimbo Fisher, and Mel Tucker, and that's something that he's talked to some people. And Scott's been in this town a long time, covering this program a long time. He knows people to talk to. So it's been real quiet, but those newspaper guys. The newspaper guys can get somewhere and get some information. They're very good at that. When you need the type of money you're going to need to get a head coach in like that, stuff's just got to start flying around a little bit. That's a lot of money they're going to have to gather together once you get these buyouts rolling, possibly more buyouts for the coach you're going to get.
stuff's going to get out there a little bit. But for the most part, I like what Scott's been doing with this whole thing. It's not been too crazy and just blatantly wide open. So I think that's the best way you got to do something like this.
That's a wrap on Throwback Thursday for Arkansas Week. AccuTempBR.com. They give you service to the highest degree. Hunt and Hill on a Thursday. Got a couple more segments. Stay with us.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pop?
It's round one of the Prep Football Playoffs, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Plus, we'll wrap up the night with the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show from 10 to midnight on YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Thanks to Scott Rabalais for jumping aboard. Lots of information there with Scott. We always appreciate his time. Great beat writer and columnist over at The Advocate. Obviously, tough news last night from the Ed Ogeron show when Ed Ogeron announced that neither of his starting guards would play in the game this coming weekend. Jason Hines is out for the year, and Ed Ingram is out for the game. Anthony Bradford already out, so you are razor thin on the offensive front. Garrett Dellinger, Marlon Martinez, Xavier Hill, Charles Turner. I honestly don't know where they go from here. I don't know who's next up at right guard, who's next up at left guard. Those guys have played all kind of different positions. You're weaker. You still got your tackles. Wires there and Deculus is there. You still got Shanahan at center, but revolving door at guard.
Yeah, talk about a revolving door. Man, it's not really many guys left to point to on the roster where you feel good about. Just depth has just totally killed this team, the injury bug. Obviously, if I had to pick two, I guess you got to go Marlon Martinez and you got to go Dellinger. They've probably played the most out of everyone that's still left on this roster. So hopefully, those guys can stay healthy and step up and play big. But you lose anyone else, man, it's going to get ugly, man, because you're just fighting up the uphill battle now with this depth. I just wonder how difficult it is to be working at tackle and starting at tackle the way Dellinger did a little bit and then move into guard. I mean, I think both guys have played snaps both places, but it's just you can't develop any continuity as a player. It's difficult to make the strides you want to make when you're moving around as much as they are, and it's just a bad situation for Brad Davis to inherit. Yeah, it's tough. You can imagine when he took the LSU job, obviously blue blood program in this country, probably one of the better jobs you could have, that you would just be struck with the injury bug like you have. Just all the upperclassmen you would love to see out there. Why you're not being there to start the year. You lose Dare Rosenthal to the transfer portal. The guards have been in and out of the lineup. Jason Hines in and out. Ingram in and out. Now you got Bradford out for the year. Just you couldn't imagine that. And I think, I will tip my cap to Coach Davis. We all believed in him at being an offensive line coach, watching this offensive line to start this season in the run blocking game to see what they are now. It shows it's possible. You can get better. You just got to stick to it, keep grinding it. And that's what they've done. So I will tip my cap to them for that because I did not think we'd have any pulse in the run game, but we got a little something now. Ingram has really played pretty well the last 3 or 4 weeks. I don't think anybody was awesome against Ole Miss. That was just a bad performance, start to finish, offensively. But I think Ingram is the one that – Hines has had his moments, and he's had some moments where he's gotten beat. But Ingram has been kind of the enforcer on that offensive line when they've been moving the ball well. And that, I think, is just such a huge blow. Do you think they have to change the way they call the game when you're plugging 2 guys into a guard spot they haven't played very much of, and you're losing 2 huge pieces? I think you got to do some things different. You don't want to just be sitting back there dropping back and 10-yard drops and 7-step drops and things of that nature. You want to kind of get the ball out quick, take pressure off of them. Do what they do well. I saw Marlon Martinez in that Florida game really pulling and knocking people down and really not feeling good about people, getting in his way at the next level. So I think you'll see more of that with him being in the lineup. And I think for this offense, especially if you're going to be going to your second string quarterback, you got to, do some things that are favorable to help these guys out. This is something we talked about on Tiger Zone last night, but I'll get you to reiterate it here. When you change quarterbacks and you got offensive linemen moving around, in terms of setting protections, are the quarterbacks going to sound the same? Is it going to be a totally different experience? You've got one right-handed, one left-handed. What are the variables we're talking about working with here? Yeah, for this LSU offense here, it's got to be the same. They're going to hear, just a cadence. If it's Green 80 set hut, none of that stuff is going to change. Only thing that's going to change, obviously, is, the way they say it, their voice. Sometimes the inflection is a little different if you're going on 2, but we do hand clapping. So I think everyone's hand clap is going to be pretty universal. So I don't think that's going to be a huge issue with this offensive line. I think they're going off that hand clap, and once that hand clap gets going, then they're firing off the ball. This is something we touched on in the first hour when the over-under, but any chance that Armani Goodwin is a piece because you want to get to the edge because that's where you're stronger on the offensive front, your tackles probably going to be stronger than your guards? Yeah, I think that's what you'll definitely see. I don't think we'll see much inside zone. I think the only inside runs we'll probably see is the variety of the pulling guards and maybe pulling Mashburn around to help out. So that's what you'll see. So I think if you do have our money in there, we did try some screens last week. Just couldn't really execute them at a high level. But I think that's a guy I would love to give a screen pass to and see what he can do at the second level.
I continue to look at these games and I continue to say, okay, usually you can do some research, you can watch some highlights, watch some film, and kind of get a read on how the game should go. I can't do it with LSU. I can't figure anything out. Nothing they do seems to have any rhyme or reason whatsoever. So I can't sit here. It makes all the sense in the world that they would fill in these two guards. They wouldn't be able to run the ball at all because these are not guards by trade. They've been tackles, and they're plugging them in at guard, and then you're trying to run the ball. Nothing says they will. So my inclination is to say, all right, they'll probably run for 260 this week.
Yeah, there's nothing there. This team just going to the UCLA game, I think we started just, us being ranked as high as we were to start the year, and then just really feeling great about ourselves. Like, man, we got something here. We got something cooking here, and the team just really just not play to the level of LSU football that you're used to, and then you just seen the inconsistent play all year. It's really hard to put up what team's going to show up. Probably 28-point underdogs in Tuscaloosa. You find a way to stay in that game. So, man, I don't know how to predict this team, but I know one thing. They're going to go out there and fight and really, not let this thing get ugly real fast in this game.
We shall certainly see. Going to be a chilly one in Tiger Stadium. Bring your jackets if you're going. And join us for the 16th annual Zoo Run Saturday, November the 13th. That's this coming Saturday at Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo. You'll enjoy the scenery and the animals as you gallop your way through the zoo. All the proceeds support zoo and international cheetah conservation efforts. Go to 1045ESPN.com today to sign up for a complimentary registration. The Zoo Run this Saturday, November 3rd, over at Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo. We'll come back, close things up on a Thursday edition of Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Sports betting is here, Louisiana, and the FanDuel Sportsbook is the best place to get in on the action. It's free to register, and when you do, you get $100 of free site credit. Can't go live just yet, but when the site goes live, you'll have that $100 to place your first wager when you register early with the promo code WNXX. If you're watching the game, you see a trend you like, you want to place a live wager on the game, you can do that right there on the app. You don't have to go to the window anymore to place all your bets. You can do it right there on your phone with the FanDuel Sportsbook app. They're going to have odds boosts for you every single day. They're going to have super boosts on the weekend so you can get your money. And when you win, you can get paid in just as little as 2 hours. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and register to get $100 in free site credit, courtesy of us. WNXX, your promo code there. You got to be 21 and present in Louisiana, and the bonus is issued on a non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money wager in Louisiana. Unique user identity verification is required. Offer ends on the go-live date. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going next. It felt like I never even had a say. But then you came along.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
At All Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary.
On Fridays, Off the Bench, the hot dog champ himself, Joey Chestnut, stops by as he gets ready to defend his pizza-eating title and a brand new D-Generation Dome. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Joey Chestnut joining the guys tomorrow. All right, so if you had to enter an eating competition, what food would you choose?
Oh, man. That's a tough one because I feel like at a certain point you're
you're going to get sick of everything, but if you had to enter, like, you got to gorge. What do you go
I'd
for?
probably go chicken wings. Probably get some buffalo wings. Just go for it. Just go for it all day long. Like, I was going to say French fries, but I feel like after like two crates of those, you're like, it's too much. So I'll probably go chicken wings here.
I could eat a significant amount of McDonald's chicken nuggets. Like, I feel like I would not get full on them. I could just hammer them down. I would think about that. My dad's always said he would do like a warm glazed donut if he had really cold milk. If you could just that would be a good one. I'm trying to I could eat a lot of bagel bites.
Yeah, I could see that one. I could see that one.
I don't know when the last time I had a bagel bite was. Probably when I was in college, but I love them.
Yeah. That's some stuff out there. But I just feel like at a certain point, I'm not built for the competitive eating contest.
I'm not either. I of course got out of my skis in college one year. It was a Sunday. We had a game day the day before. You know how when you've had a day of drinking and then you wake up the next morning and you think you're really hungry and you want to eat everything and you eat like 3 bites and you're like, I'm kind of full from that. Yeah. It's that kind of situation. But I was like, I can definitely knock down 5 Baconators, no problem, from Wendy's. So my buddies went to Wendy's and bought 5 Baconators and handed me the bag. And immediately when I held the bag, I went, I'm toast. Like, there's no way this is going to be awful. So I tried. I got through I got into the 4th one. I ate 3.5 and was like, I'm just done. It was
that's
a horrible decision. I'll never do it again. It was really, really bad. So yeah, I won't be entering any food eating competitions, but Joey's pretty good at them, so he can have at it. Let's do some take it or leave it before we get out of here.
All right, one of the blue bloods in this country, the Yukon Huskies, they hired Jim Moore to be their next head coach. You take it or leave it, Moore? Can give that program a pulse.
I'm going to leave it. It's just right where it is. That is a horrible job right now. Randy Hessel just quit on them. I'm not sure what's going on up there. They did cover against Vanderbilt. That's true. I'm aware that they covered against Vanderbilt, but I don't think Jim Moore is going to be the answer there. The AAC's Commissioner Mike Peresco says the College Football Playoff Committee has a double standard with Power 5 schools because they received the benefit of the doubt because of brand names. You taking or leaving, there's a double standard between the Power 5 and the non-P5 schools.
I'll take it, yes.
I'll take it.
Because you see Alabama in the playoff every year. You see Clemson in the playoff every year. You see all these. You see Ohio State every year. We don't see anyone from the AAC in the college football playoff. So, of course, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. What are we doing, Mike?
Well, sometimes I wonder, it's like, because when you're representing, he's the commissioner. Like, he has to say that. I wonder if they hire people who actually believe these things or if they just know I'm collecting a huge paycheck. I've got to go out there and say something dumb. Like that, because that's what you've got to do. I mean, it's like you can't defend the AAC against the SEC or the Big Ten. Like, it can't be done. But you have to do it. So I just always wonder, like, does he believe what he's saying, or does he just know I just got to collect the check, so I got to go out there and say something stupid? It's just, it's interesting.
Yeah, they're nuts. You want to get this one? Oh, yeah, I'll get this one. Pete Thamel of Yahoo Sports believe LSU has found its number one candidate in its coaching search in Jimbo Fisher. Are you taking or leaving Jimbo's the number one candidate for Scott?
I'll take that. I think he probably is the number one candidate. Obviously, Scott Woodward thinks a ton of Jimbo Fisher. We know that. He gave him $100 million guaranteed to go to College Station. It's not a secret that that's a guy that he thinks a lot of. He's known him for a very long time, and look, Jimbo's had success at Texas A&M. I think they're 16-3 in their last 19. Went 9-1 last year, sitting here at 7-2 this year with a win over Alabama. Throttled Auburn, beat Florida last year when the Gators looked to be rolling pretty good. So, he's done a good job at Texas A&M, not to mention the fact he's recruited top 5 classes the last couple of years. So I think he's the number one guy. Do I think that it's a slam dunk that he's going to leave A&M and come to Baton Rouge? No, I do not think that. But I don't think it's unreasonable to call it a number one guy. I don't even think that's really news. I think that Scott Woodward thinks a ton of Jimbo Fisher, and he's his number one guy. Question is whether or not he can make that happen. So we shall see. The Carolina Panthers signed former MVP Cam Newton back to the team. Deal about $10 million, 4.5 guaranteed. Taking or leaving, Cam can come in and rescue the Panthers.
I'll leave that for now. I think I got to see a little more from Cam. Obviously, missing this whole year. He has no rapport with most of the guys in that receiver room. I guess he played a year with DJ Moore, and he played a year with C-Mac. But I think for the most part, a lot of those receivers have not played with Cam. So it's a lot to ask a quarterback to come in mid-season and try to, deliver your team, especially when you started out 3-0 and you felt like, this was going to be your season to do something special, and the things wheels started to fall off that thing. So I think you bring in Cam to give your team a boost and a pulse, but I'm not sure if it's going to result in wins in the win column. How do you think about that?
Well, he's in his 30s, and he's just not the guy he was when he was 24 years old. He's just not that athlete anymore. His arm, he's had arm issues. He's had just total body issues. He's just not a very good player anymore. He was a great player. He's not anymore. He's one of the best college players I've ever seen. I was there in 2010. It was not great. But I mean, he's just not that guy anymore. So I'm not buying that one either. And this last one, I want you to read it. Where'd you see this?
This was he said this on ESPN. I can pull it up for you here. Hold up.
Because I disagree vehemently. But
yeah, this is the full quote here if you want to read it.
Okay, well, it went away. But that's all right. It's fine if it's sourced there. Then yeah, just read it and we'll chat about it here briefly.
Yeah, I can read that. You want to read the whole quote for
Sure.
you? All right, yeah. So this is what Kurt Herbstreit had to say the other day. Hold on. Okay, one thing you can say. Okay, hold on. Let's go down. It keeps trying to exit out on me. All right. One thing you can say over the years about LSU and Florida, programs like this, whether they win all of their games or not, they have the competitive kids, Herbstreit said. Really competitive kids with a great sense of pride, I guess what I would ask, other than when you watch LSU play and Florida play, maybe Alabama. Would you say that LSU every week has played with a tremendous amount of pride? When I think about LSU back when I started watching football, I think of LSU players who are proud of the purple and gold, that are proud of Tiger Stadium. I just haven't sensed that the past 2 years. And the reason that I bring this up is I kind of feel some of the same characteristics with Florida over the last few weeks.
Okay. So this could be a whole segment, but we only have 2 minutes left. I think the group that showed up in Gainesville last year played with some pride. I think the group that played Ole Miss last year showed up with some pride. I think the group that went to Tuscaloosa last week played with some pride. I think the team that ran for 300 yards on Florida played with some pride. They're not very good, and that's why they lose a lot. It's not a good team, but I just reject the notion that they're out there and they just don't care. If they wouldn't be able to win some of these games if they didn't. You got to have some real substance to say some things like that on the air. I just disagree.
Yeah, I think we've been talking about that for weeks now. I think when things start going the way you're doing, that's everyone's card. They quit. They're not playing for the coach. They're laid down. It's just an easy take to just jump out and say. But unless you can pull some plays up and show me guys loafing, show me guys not blocking, show me guys walking off the field, then you could possibly make a case for that. But that's not what I'm seeing. That's not what I saw in Bryant-Denny last week. I saw kids really putting themselves to beat the number 2 team in the country and do something special, and you don't do that without playing with a sense of pride. So I'm going to have to disagree with Kirk on this one. I think it's been a very unforeseen 2 seasons for this program, but to say the kids have just laid down and quit the whole time, I can't go with that.
I wouldn't either. I mean, you want to point to some individual guys because you think that they weren't hurt as badly as they let on and they had some surgeries that they wouldn't have had if they were undefeated. I can't disprove that or prove. I can't. I don't know. But I can tell you the guys that are out there on the field, I think, are playing really hard. I just think they're not a great team. I mean, we've seen great teams here. The last two that have played aren't great. Still think they're giving it a shot. Appreciate everybody for tagging along today. A Throwback Thursday presented by AccuTemp was the 1999 game against Arkansas. Scott Rabalais joined us to chat about that. Played some over-under in the first hour, as well as went back and looked at Ross Dellinger's piece on the college football playoff and what could be coming here in the next couple of weeks. Matt Moscona is going to drive you home from 3 to 6 on After Further Review this evening. Jimmy Ott from 6 to 8 tonight. That is game time. The boys with your early line, Mario and Musso, coming up next. Thanks to Casey and Taylor. That's Jeremy.